Assalamualaikum. In this video we will discuss the processor attribute, and the first attribute we will discuss is parallel processing. So you see here the processor is consisting of two components. One is a CU and the second one is a ALU. So what's happened in this diagram, you have a one control processor available. That means this is a CU unit and you have a processor 1 2 3 4. So you have a 4 secondary and processor, and we have a one controlling authority. So that is called a parallel processing operation. So you have a one processor controlling the remaining processor, and at the end combining the results together to produce the output. So that is called a parallel processing, and most of the time this technique is used in a servers environment. In desktop environment, in notebook environment, we don't use the parallel processing, but when we move towards the servers, so you have a one controlling server and the remaining are the secondary servers. So one server controlling all the remaining servers together, and at the end the control processor is combining the results and producing the output for the user. So that is this technique is known as a parallel processing. Okay, if you go into a market, you see this type of thing. Core i3 Intel is a company manufacturing the processor, and the core is the brand. So look at here, you have a Intel core. This is a brand name. You have a i3, i5, i7 available in the market. It's mean this one is a family. So i7 representing a family. So you have a i5 family, you have a i3 family, and after that you have a 4 digits number. This is very important because the first number in a fourth bit, 4 digits is the generation of the your system, and at the end you have a suffix which is representing again some of the attribute of your system. So if you have a U, it means you have a ultra low power system. It means your system is utilizing a very low power. And if you have a range of 500, it means it's also defining the characteristic of your laptop or any notebook, but the higher the range, the better is the performance of your system. So if you go into the properties of your system, so you see here you have an Intel core, R mean registered, TM is a trademark. So Intel core is a brand, i5 is a family. So my system is a third generation system, and then you have a range available 4 to 7, and U means ultra low power. Why I choose U? If you see here, you have other suffix also available. You have a Y, which means extremely low power, H high performance, HK high performance unlocked, and HQ high performance. So you have a different attributes available with the comes with the processors. So if you see here, again going into the properties of my system, so look at this thing. I have a U. I choose why I choose the U. That is an important thing, because I need a ultra low power. I want a better battery consumption from my system. So that is the reason I choose the U suffix. And then we discuss this thing previously. That is the clock speed of my system. That is the nominal clock speed, and that is the maximum clock speed. I can go towards the 2.3 gigahertz of clock speed by using a turbo technology. So that is again coming into our next presentations. So that is the thing which we have to discuss in the processor attribute. So the second attribute is the hybrid threading. I'm discussing the attributes of the processor. So hybrid threading is a technique in which the core is splitting into multiple threads. You have two pictures available here. The first one is a single threading, and the second one is a hyper threading. So what is happening here, that is maybe the input into your processor, and you have only one output path for the results. So that is a single threading technique. And if you see this hyper threading technique, you have a input coming, and after processing the input is moving into a multiple thread. So of course that's produce a much faster result if I compare this technology with the single threading. So hyper threading is a very important parameter when discussing the processor attributes, and nowadays all of the computer are using the hyper threading technology. Hyper threading allows the system to work more efficiently. If you have a more number of threads at the input and more number of threads at the output, of course you are getting better results. The third attribute when discussing the processor is the turbo boost. So you see this here you have a 4 cores available: core 0, core 1, core 2, core 3, and all the 4 cores are integrating into a single chip processor. So that is it means this is a quad core processor, and the activity of each core is represented with the dial. You have a core 0 dial, core 1 dial, core 2 dial available, and core 3 dial is available. So activity of each core is representing with this dial-up modem, and you see here the activity of each core is a little bit different depending on the working capacity of a core. So it's maybe 100%, 96% active core 0. This core is 70% active. This is somewhere 82, and this is up to a 90% active core. So that is a normal working of your processor. All the cores are sharing the workload and working as a unit. But what happened? You can switch off the capacity of two cores. You can switch off the these two cores, this one and this one, and shifting the working capacity towards the remaining cores. So if the two cores are idle, these two cores are not working, so the capacity of these cores is shared by the remaining working cores. And similarly, you can switch off the 3 cores simultaneously and shift the working capacity, which is represented with these green strips here. So all the 3 cores are switched off, and only a single core is active at that time, and that is a very important parameter of a processor when you want to reduce the energy consumption by your system. And the most of the systems comes with the USFX use the turbo boost technology, because by using this technology you can reduce the energy consumption of your system. Again, discussing the clock speed, it's an important parameter, so there is a reason it's discussing is I'm discuss it again. So you have a 2.7 gigahertz Intel core available with the 7th generation, and 1.3 gigahertz of clock speed with the 7th generation and same i7. So which one is a better processor? So of course the processor with the higher clock speed is much better than the 1.3 gigahertz of clock speed. That is one of a comparison of i3, i5 and i7. So i3 is an entry-level processor, i5 is a mid-range, and i7 is a high-end processor. And that is an important thing, the number of cores is almost the same. So look at this thing, the core i3 doesn't consisting of 3 cores, it comes with 2 to 4 cores. And similarly i5 is also coming with 2 to 4 cores, and i7 is also coming with 4 cores. So if you see the number of threads, it's also vary, and the hyper threading is present in all the 3 families: core i3, core i5 and core i7. The caches, that is thing we discussed in coming slides. So this is a small storage area inside your processor, so that is again very important when discussing the processor. So I discussed this thing in when I move towards the memories. So core i3 is consist of 3 to 4 MBs of cache. Similarly core i5 is 3 to 8, and core i7 goes towards 4 to 8 MB of caches, and that is a physical size of the chip. That's 32 nanometer silicon chip, that's almost the same when representing the three families. And the turbo mode is only come with the core i5 and core i7. So the turbo is not coming with the core i3. It's mean the core i3 system, when you purchase the core i3 system, so they are not the energy efficient system. If you want an energy efficient system, so you have to move towards the core i5 and core i7. So look at this thing, you can turn off the core if not used. So that is the important thing when discussing the i5 and i7. So what processor you need? If you have a normal user, you just want to do office work, you just want to share the documents with your colleagues or with your fellows, so go for a core i3 Intel core i3 family. You can go up to a 6th generation, and 2.3 gigahertz is a very good specs. And you go with the USFX. Of course, it's a core i3, but it's also utilized low power as compared to the i5 and i7. And if you have a mid-end user, you want some multimedia operation, you want some little bit type of a gaming, so you can go towards the i5. And if you want to do some type of a simulation 3D software, you install a 3D software in your system and you want to run these 3D software, so you must go for a core i7 and with the HK suffix. So look at this thing, that is a high definition, very high definition suffix. So you can go towards HQ when you need a 3D gaming type of operation. That is a working capacity of a different cores. So look at this thing, there is a comparison. Intel Pentium is available, i3, i5, i7 available. And look at this thing, when working with the core i7, you can create and edit the HD videos, you can produce the 3D frame per seconds games. So that is the thing happens with the core i7, and that is not happening with the core i5. And similarly have a comparison of different things are available here.